Good morning, students. So today we are starting the second lesson of the supplementary reader, that is Question of Trust by Victor Kenny. Uh, anyway, it is said that you must set a thief to catch a thief. But it is also said that there is honor among thieves, which saying does the story illustrate. So, anyway, the question of trust is the theme of the story. Is the professional integrity. Of course, here the profession of the protagonist that I find is something shady. He is a thief actually. Anyway, and a thief is supposed to be trusted by another thief. Okay. Anyway, but in this case, it is not the case actually. That's why the title, "A Question of Trust." Well, everyone thought that Horace Dandy was a good, honest citizen. He was about 50 years old and unmarried, and he lived with a housekeeper who worried over his health. In fact, he was usually very well and happy, except pretext of hay fever in summer. He made locks and was successful enough at his business to have two helpers. Yes, Horace Dandy was good and respectable, but not completely honest. Anyway, so the protagonist, the hero of the story, is Horace Dandy. He is a middle-aged person. His age is about 50 years, and he is unmarried. And by profession, here he is a locksmith. Anyway, since he doesn't have any family, he had a housekeeper, sort of a maid, who looked after him. And he is quite, you can say, successful in his business. He could even employ two helpers. Okay, and everyone in the society where he lived, he is assumed to be a very good and respectable person. But the writer here says that he is not entirely respectable. He has some secret that actually public doesn't know. Anyway, the secret is 15 years ago, Horace Dandy had served his first and only sentence in the prison library. He loved rare, expensive books, so he robbed the safe every year. Each year he planned carefully just what he would do. Stole enough to last for 12 months and secretly bought the books he loved through an agent. Now you see, 15 years ago, actually he was a convict actually. Okay? So 15 years ago he had served a prison term, and you see, being a thief, he had some peculiar sort of hobby. Generally, we don't suppose a thief should have such hobbies, and his hobby is he loved rare and expensive books, and that's why he robbed every year a safe where you keep your valuables, money, jewelry, etc. So he robbed a safe every year. Each year he planned carefully just what he would do, and he meticulously, very carefully, planned. After planning, he robbed a thief actually. That's why after he was never caught. Got it? Stole enough, so each year he robbed a safe and stole money so that he could buy books. Okay, and he was so careful that he never bought books by himself. Okay, he through an agent. Okay, he generally bought rare and expensive books actually. That was his hobby. Okay, he would stole, okay, and secretly bought the books he loved through an agent. Now, walking in the bright July sunshine. Anyway, another you see important a point about Horace Dandy we missed actually. He had allergy, some sort of an allergic disease that is called hay fever. Actually, hay fever is not caused by any bacteria or virus. Okay, it is it is an allergy sort of. Okay, certain substance trigger his allergy and he suffers from headache sort of, just like any other flu or fever sort of, sneezing, runny nose, itchy eyes. That is the symptoms of the hay fever. But the difference is that if hay fever is caused by some allergen actually, and it is not caused by any germ. Okay. Anyway, now walking in the bright July sunshine, he felt sure that this year's robbery was going to be successful as all the others. So on that particular year also, he had already planned the robbery beforehand. For 2 weeks, he had been studying the house at Sotoba Grange. So for the last 2 weeks, he had been studying a particular the surroundings of a particular house, the setting sort of. The name of that particular house is Sotoba Grange. Looking at its rooms, its electric wiring, its parks and its garden. So everything everything had been taken into account. This afternoon, the two servants. So he knew everything about so far. After 2 weeks of study, he observed everything, and he knew most of the things about that particular house. This afternoon, two servants who remained in the Grange while the family was in London. He also knew that the family was in a vacation in London, and the house was now occupied by only the servants. So this afternoon, the two servants who remained in the Grange while the family was in London had gone to the movies. Okay, so they had already left from movies. Horace saw them go. He even watched them go out, and he felt happy in spite of the little tickle of hay fever in his nose. Now there is symptoms. He had this particular feeling that maybe he will be attacked some sort of an episode of hay fever he is going to have. So the tickling in the nose has already started. Anyway, he came out from behind the garden. He was hiding behind the garden. His tools carefully packed in a bag on his back. So he was well prepared. He had brought his tools actually. Now he will need some tools to break the safe actually. So he is well prepared. He was watching that particular house for the last 2 weeks. He knew the setup, and he knew that only the servants are there, and they too had just gone out from movies. So the house is there is nobody in the house. Okay, there were 15,000 pounds worth of jewels in the grand safe. Okay, he knew that that particular safe contains jewels worth rupees 15,000 pounds. Okay, if he sold them one by one, he expected to get at least 5,000, enough to make him happy for another year. So you see, he is planning to sell the jewels. Okay, after he took them one by one, so that nobody would become suspicious. Okay. Anyway, enough to make him happy for another year. So, and he thought that that much money, £5,000, will be enough for that particular year. There were 3 very interesting books coming up for sale in the autumn. Now he would get the money he wanted to buy them. So he had already thought about the books he was going to buy. Anyway, he had seen the housekeeper hang the key to the kitchen door on a hook outside. Okay, he had already seen where the key of the kitchen door was kept. He put on a pair of gloves. Okay, so he is careful here so that he won't leave any fingerprints. That's why he is putting on gloves. Took the key and opened the door. He was always careful not to leave any fingerprints. So anyway, as I told you, he was very meticulous. Okay. Anyway, a small dog was lying in the kitchen. Okay. When he entered the house, he encountered that particular dog, a small dog. It stirred, made a noise, and moved its tail in a friendly way. All right, Cherry, Horace said as he passed. All you had to do to keep dogs quiet was to call them by their right names and show them love. So he knew the tricks how to tame, dogs. Okay, he already know the name of the dogs, and you see, the dog too was not at all hostile. Okay, he was not barking, and he was just, that dog was a little bit, you can say, friendly also. The safe was in the drawing room behind a rather poor painting. So he knew where the safe was hidden. It was behind a painting, poor painting. Horace wondered for a moment whether he should collect pictures instead of books. But they took up too much room. In a small house, books were better. So he was even thinking about collecting pictures. But the pictures take up more room. That's why he decided in favor of books. Actually, there was a great bowl of flowers on the table, and Horace felt his nose tickle. Now you see, since it is an allergy, certain substances are triggers actually. When he somehow was in contact with certain substance, it may be a smell, dust, okay, or any other substances, okay, it becomes a trigger, and he got an attack of hay fever. He gave little sneeze and then put down his bed. He carefully arranged his tools. He had 4 hours before the servants returned. So he already knew how much time he got. Okay, he had 4 hours to complete his task, to open the door, open the safe, and took away the jewelry before anyone returns. Okay, the safe was not going to be hard to open. After all, he had lived with locks and safes all his life. So you see, this lock of the safe posed no difficulty because he was an expert about locks. The burglar alarm was poorly built. There were burglar alarms actually, and he went into the hall to cut its wire. Okay, there were, as precautionary measures against burglars or thieves, there were certain alarms, electrical alarms, and Horace knew it, how to deactivate the alarms. Okay, he went into the hall to cut its wires. He came back and sneezed loudly. And the smell of the flowers came to him again. Now you see, again when he came into contact with the flower, okay, the smell, okay, it made him smell a little loudly. How foolish people are when they own valuable things. Now he was thinking that he got most of the information from books or almost all the informations about the ship was public. Okay, Horace thought a magazine article had described this house. Okay, giving a plan of the rooms and a picture of their room. Okay, everything has been revealed about that particular house. Okay, he got all the information from the magazine, the outline of the rooms, the settings, okay, etc. The writer had even mentioned that the painting hid a safe. So okay, he don't have to be so you see, he could easily get all the information he wanted. But Horace found that the flowers were hindering him in his work, preventing him, making him slow, because he buried his face in his handkerchief, because whenever he got a smell, he had the tendency to sneeze. Then he heard a voice from the doorway. Now you see, the house is supposed to be empty. Okay, it's supposed to have no one inside the house. So then he heard a voice say from doorway, "What is it? A cold or hay fever?" Suddenly he heard someone asking him whether it is a cold or a hay fever. Before he could think, Horace said, now you see, impulsively, when you say, automatically you can say, that is called impulsively, he answered, it is a hay fever, and found himself sneezing again. So somebody asked him whether it is a hay fever or a cold. He impulsively, without thinking actually, automatically that answer came out of his mouth, from his mouth. Okay, it was a hay fever. The voice went on. You can cure it with a special treatment. You see, it is treatable, quite treatable. If you find out just what plant gives you the disease. Okay, now that particular voice is again, telling him that you can cure that particular disease, but you have to know which plant gives you the disease. Okay, I think you would better see a doctor. Now you can say this is quite a patronizing voice. Okay, now in that particular atmosphere, in a situation, a thief is not supposed to start a conversation with anyone. Okay, anyway, if you are serious about your work, I heard you from the top of the house just now. Now you are a thief. You are a burglar sort of. You are trying to steal something. Okay, you are supposed to be silent. Okay, now you are sneezing, and I could hear the sound of your sneezing from the top of the house. Okay. It was a quite kindly voice. Now, that stranger sort of, Horace didn't know who was that particular lady, but one with firmness in it. Now, it was a firm voice. Got it? A voice with authority, you can say. A woman was standing in the doorway. For the first time, you could see that a woman was there in the doorway, and Sherry was rubbing against her, and that pet dog Sherry was rubbing against her body. She was young, quite pretty, and was dressed in red. So that was how she dressed. She was wearing red clothes, and she was quite young and pretty. She walked to the fireplace and straightened the ornaments there. And you see, she was, acting. That every from her attitude, from her body language, Horace thought that she was maybe a member of that particular family. Now she walked to the fireplace and she was straightening her ornaments there. "Down, Sherry," she said. Okay, she was now commanding her dog. "Anyone would think I had been away for a month." Just smiled at Horace and went on. "However, I came back just in time, though I didn't expect to meet a burglar. Now, as in sort of an explanation, he thought that he was saying to Horace that I was supposed to be away for a month, and everyone thought that I was in London. But she had to return, and she didn't expect that she would meet a burglar. Horace had some hope because she seemed to be amused at meeting him. Now you see, Horace thought that since he had some hope, since he was caught red-handed, so there is no question of taking those jewelries. Now his sole aim is to escape from that particular house scot-free. Okay, so that nobody. He was just trying to find a way out of the situation. Horace had some hope because she seemed to be amused at meeting him. He might avoid trouble if he treated her the right way. He replied, I didn't expect to meet one of the family. So now we see Horace, who was thinking that that particular lady who suddenly appeared, seemed quite, you can say, till then, she was quite friendly. And it seemed that she was enjoying the situation. She was not hostile, she was not, you can say, hysteric sort of. When you find someone in your house, what happened? The people tend to react in a hysterical, you can say, a manner. Calling out loudly to her neighbors, to their neighbors or to the police, running away from the place to save himself. So such response was not shown at all by that lady. So Horace was also a little bit bewildered, you can say. Anyway, his aim was, now since he was caught, as I have told you, by someone in the family, so there is no question of taking the jewelry. So he was now thinking how to escape from that particular position. This much for this session, and we'll continue the lesson hopefully in the next session. We'll complete the lesson. Till then, bye.